Welcome back to the Principles of Management class. In the last class, we see about the various management gurus' contribution to the development of management, where we see Henry Fayol's, Peter Drucker, okay, and other eminent management gurus. Hope we learn so many things, how this management of today evolved, and their contribution was very important for the modern management of today. So, in today's class, the topic is whether the management is a science or an art, or management is both science and art. So, after going through this class, you will understand okay what is a management is all about. First, we discussed that management as an art. So, art is defined as the use of skills to bring a desired result. Skills refer to one's proficiency to do a specific work. Thus, art has the following features: practical knowledge. Knowledge refers to possessions of facts and techniques of a particular field. Okay, it may be anything like, say, a person has got idea about how a painting is drawn, or how to sing a song with proper lyrics, tone, all those things. So they have a knowledge. A particular person has a knowledge about the particular field, like singing or dancing and all those things. So knowledge can be acquired. That is, it can be gained, learned through study or practical experience. The more we do something, then we learn. So that's a part of knowledge. Generally, in art, uh, more emphasis is given on acquiring knowledge through practical experience. In management, knowledge is acquired both through study and experience. So when we discuss about art, art is something we really become well versed with more and more experience. So the same is applicable to management. So what happens with the experience? With the study, we get more knowledge about management. So thus we can say that management is an art. Then personalized application of knowledge. In art, there is a personalized application of knowledge to achieve the desired result. This is possible because the same set of results can be achieved through number of alternative ways. This is done in a management too. So what happens in art? You can achieve a particular standard of result, we can say, or a level of result, and this result can be achieved through various means or ways. Okay, so this is also same applicable to management. So each manager has his own way of achieving result. Thus, management is an art. So manager can, same like art, can achieve the desired, we say a desired result. That is, it can be a goal of the department. It can be objective need to which need to be achieved for an organization in order to achieve the vision. So every manager has their own way of doing things. So same like art, the management is also similar. So we can say that management is an art. Some managers, they get the works done in a very what I say amicable way, nicely talking to the subordinates and all those things. Some managers are like dictators, they order and get things done, but everyone has their own way of doing things, and this can be applicable to the culture of the organization. The third one, improvement through continuous process. In art, improvement is made through continuous process. This practice eliminates those activities which are not relevant for achieving the desired results and improving those activities that are relevant. So, if we discuss about art, art can be improved if you do something on continuous basis. When we do this, we know what are the attributes which is not required, which need to be avoided, and what are the attributes which need to be added in order to improve the level or standard. So whatever need to be added in order to improve, then we do that on regular basis. Through this way, the person engaged in any art tends to move towards perfection. So this is exactly done in the management. So by doing what is required and doing this on regular basis, they will perfect the art. Okay, so the same principle is also applicable in management. Doing certain things like reinforcing, say, your staff is doing a good job. So, in terms of customer relationship, productivity, and all those things. So, yeah, the manager finds this reinforces through some sort of motivation, like appreciating something like this. So what happens when the managers appreciate the staff member for a job done nicely? So what happens, this reinforces that they tend to do this again and again. So like art, this one is also exactly applicable in management. The next one is a situational applications. Art has situational application. This implies that an art which is appreciated in one situation may not be appreciated in another situation. This is true for management too. So situation means certain art are quite accepted and appreciated in certain countries. Okay, again it relates to the situational factors in the particular country or region, or their culture and all those things. So the same thing is applicable in management also. Certain style of management or way of doing things are well appreciated in certain situations or in certain culture, but in another culture or other situation, this particular style may not be applicable. So, as I just mentioned earlier, a manager is acting as a dictatorship can be appreciated in certain situation, okay, or in certain countries, but in certain other situation, I mean, this dictatorship may not be, very well. Very well appreciated or very well work out for that particular time. So the same thing like art, this management is also applicable. Thus, a particular management practice which is quite effective in an organization may not be effective in another organization because of change in situational context. So the same style or the type of management which was so successful in one organization may not be successful in other organization. It may be due to various reasons. One reason may be uh, the manager follows say a dictatorship in sense he was like very authoritarian, all the time shouting and not very polite to his subordinates. So this may not would have been very successful in one organization in getting things done. In another organization, the culture is maybe quite different. So this may not be very good applicable. That's one reason, and otherwise maybe it's a kind of subordinates. Maybe in the other organization, the subordinates are like quite experienced, and then they are very knowledgeable and they are independent, so they may not like or they may not require this kind of since they are very responsible, they carry out the duties on their own. It is not required for them to have an authoritarian kind of a manager or leader, so that authoritarian leader may not be applicable in a other situation. So when we relate art to management, so art is is I mean is situational. One situation it may be good, another situation it may not be appreciated. The same things applicable to management. Management is type of management is appreciated in one situation or one organization may not be, I mean, well accepted in another management, I mean another organization. Then emphasis on creativity. So, I mean, the emphasis on creativity, as you know, what is creativity? Creativity is like people who are creative doing things in a different manner, in a better manner, like out of the box thinking. So, these are the terms which can be related to creativity. So, arts always emphasize creativity, new way of doing things, doing new things, I mean, doing new processes and all those things. Art puts emphasis on creativity through which new things or ways of working are created. So, creativity, they say, is a mother of all the innovations. So, all the new things we enjoy in life today are born out of the a person's creative mind. So, art is something which helps to, which is emphasized, and it can be improved through creativity. This is done in management too. Managers create new products, new ways of working, new means of financing, new ways of marketing, and so on. So same like how creativity is, help in art. The same thing it will be in management also. So a creative person helps to do things in creating new products, new services, and new way of doing things, a new way of financing a business, and a new way of marketing, and so on. So the above discussion shows that management is an art. So this is also a strong proof that management is art. Then we see management as a science. Science is a body of systemized knowledge generated through logical consistency, critical evaluation. So logical consistency in sense, uh, we use logic. Okay, so science is something, it should be logical, it should be consistent. Consistent means if you do something on one situation under one environment, the same thing should be repeated again in a the same or similar situation under similar environment. So it's a critical evaluation and experimental study. We conduct experiments in science. Thus, science has the following features: systematized body of knowledge. Science is a systematized body of knowledge. Its principles are based on cause effect relationship. You know, cause effect relationship. Something causes this. Okay, so someone like say someone who, I mean, expose their body, someone who got maybe a sinusitis, who expose their body to the extreme cold, they end up in the chances of catching up a heavy flu. So cause and effect. So if someone with the sinusitis problem, they should not expose to the extreme cold. So that is a cause, and that is the extreme effect is there, catching flu. So this is a called cause effect relationship. That this is in the science. That is a particular factor has been caused by what factor can be explained in a definite way. For example, if you throw a ball up after going upward, the ball will ultimately come back on the ground because of the Earth's gravitational force. So that's a, someone throws a ball up. So what happens? It is understood that the ball will come down. Okay, after some time, it is the reason because it's because it been attracted by the gravitational forces. This is a science. In management, there is a lack of such cause effects relationship. Cause effect relationship is defined in a flexible way, not in a definite way. There, it's not very uh, in a definite manner in management, which is in the science. Thus, management is not a true science. So we cannot say that management is a true science. Principle based on experimentations. In science, principles are evolved on the basis of experiments conducted in laboratories. Such principles are tested again and again for final approval. In management, this is not done in all the cases. So, where in science we do experiments in the lab under a controlled environment. Controlled environment means like the environment is under our control. The changes will not affect the, I mean, we will not let any changes in the environment, because the changes in the environment will affect the experiment which we are doing in the lab. So that's why we say when we conduct experiment in the lab, it should be under the controlled environment, like in terms of weather, temperature, sound. All those factors affect the experiments we do in the lab. So if we do that yeah, experiment in the lab in a controlled environment, so what happens, the same thing will be tested and again. If it is tested and it is proved under particular condition there is a cause and effect relationship, so this will be applicable in all the situations. So in management, this is not done in all cases. In many cases, management principles are based on personal observations and experiences. So this may not be applicable in management, because management we really don't do. Experiment exactly like what we do in science. Here we give emphasis on personal observation, means that what we observe personally, why a particular person is doing like this, a consumer is buying a particular thing, and with our experiences through experiments are conducted under controlled conditions, their findings are not tested like science. From this point of view, management is not a true science. Then verifiable principles. Scientific principles can be verified by anyone. Such verification will give the same result again and again. Management is principles are not verifiable in many cases. So once we say this is the reason for this to happen, that particular reason is examined in the science again and again, and ensure the same thing is happened every time. But the same principle is not tested in the management and again, again in many cases. In fact, many cases it is difficult to appreciate the basis on which management principles have been evolved. Thus, management is again not a true science. Universal applications. So, principles of science have universal applications. That is, they remain true irrespective of the conditions in which these are applied. As against this, management principles are situation bound. In other words, any thing or experiment or any testing we do in the science, if it is like happening again and again in the same thing, and if it is verified, then we can generalize this to the whole universe. Okay, so but this is may not be true in the management. There may be some changes according to the situation. It implies that management principles which works well in one country may not work equally well in another country. So what happens? What a particular kind of management style or processes was, very successful in one country. The same thing, may not be very successful in another country. Not only that, we a particular management style was very successful in one organization may not be very suitable in the another organization even in the same country. Okay, so further, yeah, management principles which works effectively in one organization may not work effectively in another organization of the same country. Thus management cannot be called true science. Again, this is another example that we cannot say management is a true science. The above discussion shows that management is not a true science, therefore, management is called an inexact science or pseudoscience. So, like art, like management is an art. If we say management is a science, we cannot say it is exact science, or we can say either it is an inexact science or pseudoscience. Now we come to the conclusion. Now, whether if we ask management is a science or art, we can conclude that management is both art and science. In terms of science, we already see it's a sort of inexact science, but still, where the applications of the science can be applied in the uh, management also. So, thus, to be a successful manager, a person requires the knowledge of management principles and also skills of how the knowledge can be utilized. So absence of either will result in inefficiency. So a manager, in order to be very very efficient uh, and effective, he need to be well versed in both knowledge of management principles and the skills required to be a manager. So that's all for today's class. Thank you. We will see you in the next class.